Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today it's part 3 of the 64 by 64 overgrown village that I started like a few weeks ago. First one was a witchy cottage, the second one was a potion carriage, and this one is a it like started off as going to be just like a very basic shape with a circular greenhouse tower, and so that's what it is. But I turned it into a library because I didn't really know what I wanted to build, and I didn't want to do another like residential lot. So this one is a library because I could just throw in a bunch of books and everything, and I could finally use the greenhouse kit. And my plan was to use way more items from it, but I only really put them in this tiny tower over here. And the shape of it, like, I struggled with it because I am using rounded walls, which is a bad idea because it never works. I'm also using diagonal walls. So I placed a square and I realized that it would look so much better with the surrounding lots if it was diagonal. And so I'm like, okay, I know I'm doing circular walls, but I could do diagonal. I think that's why I ended up going with the library, because I was just like, I don't want to have to worry about a bedroom, a kitchen, especially a kitchen. Kitchens on diagonal walls is like a nightmare for me. So you could see that it's already starting to like act weird with the walls. Like some walls are connecting, some aren't. So the tower technically isn't even like inside, like the downstairs part of the tower is outside, which is fine. There's nothing really in that part anyway. The upstairs one is technically inside, but there's no way to get to it because you can't put ladders in circular rooms like that. So I didn't even think to do it. I was like, okay, I'm not putting anything up there. And if I am, I'm just going to like make it so that you just pretend that there's a ladder that you can use. But I did realize that there is a debug ladder that I think comes with cats and dogs. And I've been like wanting something like that. And I had no idea that it was in the game because it's just like in the debug menu, it's half in the ground. So that happens all the time. When things are half in the ground, I don't know what they are and I'm never going to look. But I was doing shell tours, so I was doing shell tours for my third shell challenge, and someone had that ladder, and I thought that it was like custom made ladder, so I went to go eyedrop and see what they used for it, but it was just a debug ladder, and so my life has changed, and I'm going to definitely be using it. Oh my god. my my voice just started to go. You could probably hear it slowly progressing. Um, but yeah, I do have a reference picture for this. So let me pull that up right now so I could kind of talk about it. Okay, I have the reference picture. I took a sip of coffee, so I think I should be okay to at least talk for another little bit about this. So I found this on Pinterest. I have an entire little Pinterest board that is dedicated to saving builds that might go into this lot. And I really liked this one, and I feel like it is very, very similar to how it like looks in this reference picture. That normally doesn't happen for me. That normally is just like I have a reference picture and it like kind of resembles it a little bit. But I think that this one actually kind of does, and I think some of it was accidental because I use these wallpaper all the time that's in the reference picture, and those windows that are on the reference picture look really close to Strangerville windows. And I'll say right now, I did not look that close to this. Yeah, I did not notice like all these little details about the reference picture. Because again, when I'm like building with one, I just look at the shape and sort of the vibe of it that I want. And that's normally like how it goes, because I know that like little details are going to be hard to replicate. But now I need to start just like really, really looking at pictures more closely because I could definitely make things like maybe some things look close enough to it. Like, I think the like thing that doesn't look that close to it is the greenhouse tower, only because mine looks a little strange because there's limitations in the game, especially with rounded walls. They're very hard. If you've seen some of my other rounded wall videos, you know, but or if you've seen other builders build with rounded walls, or if you've built with rounded walls, you know, it's a nightmare. So this is actually like pretty good. Like, this was pretty okay, even though the bottom of it is not a room. Didn't matter that much because I knew that it wasn't going to be super important to the build. And yeah. So, and now I'm like connecting everything to the the rest of the landscaping. So I'm using like similar flowers and stuff. And I know that in my last video, I said that I was going to do like themed flowers for each build, but I could not remember what I did for this one. So I don't think this one had a specific color like flower. Um, I think it's similar to the yellow one next to it. And so like the one in the back has pink accent flowers, and then these ones I guess have yellow, and then my next build, I think I was doing lavender. The next build, I know that I started this as a, oh, I'm gonna build little tiny cottages because I've been burnt out. I'm building like another, it's like a smaller village in a village. So I don't know what I got myself into. I haven't finished it yet. I've been playing a lot of Stardew, and so I have not been really like at my computer playing The Sims. And so this other build, it's like four different little builds, and they're all going to be different things, and I have to furnish like three of them still. So I guess me saying, oh, I'm just going to make little builds on this like very large lot, and it's going to be fun, and it's not going to be like um burnout potential. But I think it might be because then my other plan behind the little village is to make a castle, and it's not going to be a huge castle because all I have left is maybe like a quarter of this lot. So it'll be just like a pretty like normal sized castle for me at least. Because whenever I do a castle, it's like two bedrooms, which doesn't feel very like grand, but that's usually what ends up happening because um, I noticed that when I do builds, I don't focus on the shape for the floor plan, and I focus on the shape for the aesthetics on the outside. And I did a tutorial style build with me video, and I realized that my approach is probably not the best, and I'm probably not the like best person to be giving like a tutorial for building something because I realized that when I probably do the floor plan of the build that I showed people how to build, it's like most likely going to be the worst floor plan. It's going to probably be really hard to make a floor plan in it. So we'll have to see. I might do a continuation where I do the floor plan, but yeah, I think that I need to start paying attention when I'm building on what the floor plan's going to end up being. Because again, it's like the last thought in my head. It's okay, build the entire structure, landscape all of it, so there's no way that you can change anything. And then you're stuck with the shape that you made. So that's exactly what ends up happening, which is not how I always used to build. Like before I was doing like posting on Instagram and stuff, I would do like the exterior, like shell and the wallpaper, and then I do the interior, and then I do the landscaping. But now I do like all the exterior and then all the interior. And I think that doing like build videos, I feel like I want them to be a little bit more structured so that it makes sense and it's easier to follow. And like if people prefer exteriors, they can just watch the exterior. If they don't want to see the exterior, they could just skip to the interior. And so they're kind of like majority of it is all in one spot. I also learned how to put in the chapters. I didn't even know how to do that because I thought you did it with like in your editing software because there's chapters in your editing software. that's different. So I learned how to do that. So I might end up splitting my videos into little chapters if I have the time and the energy to do so. I can't promise it every video because sometimes I just have the energy to post and I don't have the energy to do a bunch of other things with it too. Because then that I have to like sit there and it's going to take me like another extra hour to kind of like break it all up. But that's not important. What's important is the build, and I'm putting all this like those specific grass on because I was watching Plant Sim Girl and I was like watching her place like I think this exact grass on a roof. And I was just like, I need that exact grass on a roof. And so I like put a bunch of grass on there. Um so all of the builds are covered in different plants. That's like the whole theme for it. That's kind of how I like to build. I think it's just like easier to ignore some details of building if you just cover it with plants. I'm a lazy builder. I know it might not seem like I'm a lazy builder, but I definitely am. I'll do like anything to get around like having to put in a bunch of details or like having to use tool to like make something. It's hard. So I want to like get better at putting in more details in my builds. I don't not even sure how I would do that. So I like when people take um debug wood and then they like rotate it and stuff and they make like these designs on their like roof eaves. I love that, but I don't know if I have that in me. Maybe one day I should really just try the thing where I just sit down and I do a tiny build just for myself of practicing things so that they come like more naturally to me. Because at first I didn't even know how to use tool at all until I started like doing my videos. So my first video I was kind of learning how to use tool to like bulk lower things, and now I'm like really quick at it, so anytime I do something I just like select every single rock and I just lower it all, and it sometimes takes a couple tries to get it perfect, but I'm way faster than I used to be because when I used to do it, it was just like it took me so long per rock. And so building, once you like get the hang of something, it goes very quickly. Yeah, I was checking to see if I could somehow put a ladder in that space, even though I knew in my heart that it wasn't going to work, but I was trying it anyway. But yeah, I do just a library in here. It's a very small space. So, like, if it was a house, it probably wouldn't have, like, been, like, that much stuff in here. I feel like the kitchen would have been very small. The bathroom's already super small. I don't even need to put a shower in this because it's just a community lot. So, and also, I should all like remember to state again that each of these builds aren't on the gallery yet because I'm going to upload them all as this one big lot, and then I'm going to upload them separately as their own individual lots. And that's going to take me some time because I realized like I like put one on a different lot just to see, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really going to have to change like and redo some of the landscape because I like the pond that I have on this lot." And so I want to keep that in like a point in at least two of the builds. So I'm gonna have to like recreate the whole pond for like a couple of builds. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not worrying about it right now. And the good thing about building on a lot with a bunch of other builds is that you can just copy and paste all the items that you love to use from a different like build that you've already placed. But I try to avoid doing it as like much as I want to, just so that the camera doesn't go all over the place. Because when I was doing the cross stitch stuff, and I downloaded the cross stitching like completed ones off the gallery, and it's like a whole room. And I had to keep just like it was, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It was a mess. So, yeah. Um, I do like I don't really put walls in this build. I've broken up the space using different items, which I thought was like would be better because I was also thinking about how I would take pictures in here because it's very hard to take pictures of very small rooms. And like seen that people will like take pictures, but they'll like increase the size of the room just for the interior picture and then they'll move stuff around. But I don't know if I have that in me. So I never do that. And so I always need to like make sure that I can like take a picture and it not be annoying because I'm not going to want to delete anything out of the way. I'm not going to want to put stuff back. So I don't know how it's going to be with this. Normally, if an interior is really hard for me to take pictures of, I just make a reel of it because a reel is like only a very, very small part of the screen. And so I get away with being able to like get a really like pretty picture of my build without having like a full square of space that's like non-existent because the build's so small. But yeah, I don't know when this video ends. And so I always think about that when I'm like, I feel like it's nearing the end. Um, I always get worried of having to like quickly rush a goodbye into the ending, but I'm like, just do clutter around and stuff. I feel like I didn't put as many items in this slot as I normally do. I'm also worried about how laggy this is gonna get when I'm building the other stuff. Because I can already like feel it a little bit. When I like eye drop something, it takes like a little bit too long. So I'm worried, especially when I'm doing like the other one for next week, it's gonna be a nightmare. But yeah. Um this is pretty much it. All I do is I put clutter around and I'll like have this on the gallery probably in a few weeks, I would say. Um yeah, so if you want to follow me on the gallery, my gallery is like the Cracked Kyber because Cracked Kyber is taken. So if you are interested in this build, you could kind of like be notified or like see it when it uploads if you follow me. The gallery's not very good at like showing people's uploads though. But I'm sure like it'll pop up maybe. I'm not really sure, but yeah. Um thank you for watching and also thank you for 400 subscribers. I think I'm planning on doing something special for 500 subscribers. I'm not sure yet, maybe like a building challenge type video, but yeah, we'll see with that. Um I believe that all that is left is the attic, and all I do is use some of the basement kit items. So you could see I'm filtering by basement and the greenhouse kit because this was pretty much around when the kits came out, and I hadn't really been able to use them that much because everything I built I hated. And it was just that kind of week for me. So this one, I was like, okay, I like this. So let me throw in all the items. But yeah, now this is my actual goodbye that I started like 5 times in the last 3 minutes. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.